Hey there, I am Casey Zaugg, your iFit trainer. Today we are at An Lagoon in Vietnam to do our final endurance ride of the series here. Let's get rolling. Gotten a little fish action here at An Lagoon. Now let's warm up as we have a 30-minute endurance ride today. And I must say, we've got a fantastic and phenomenal ride in store today. Not only have we already seen some food, but we also get to enjoy a solid 30-minute effort at an RPE of 5 to 6. Right now, I want your cadence to be about 60 RPM. Keep your RPE between 2 and 3 now. We've come off a solid tempo effort from the last segment, so we want to make sure we've got this good base mile effort today and enjoy the views along An Lagoon. That sea wind is really coming down off the mountain. You can see those ominous clouds hovering over the mountains up ahead. We'll be riding up to a little pass overlooking the lagoon. One thing that makes this location extra special and unique is the way that the locals have turned it into a seafood cultivation location. Say that 3 times fast. Seafood cultivation location. All of those little huts you see out on the water, those are oyster harvesters who use old motorcycle tires and set them up strategically throughout. It just dots the landscape here. It's a 3 to 6 month cultivation period to where they can fit 20 to 30 oysters on each tire. So rather than just burning them and creating toxic smoke and polluting the environment, their ingenuity has allowed them to reuse these rubber byproducts and create an economy from it. Very impressive. Keep that spinning at around 60 RPM right now. Let's ratchet up your effort between 3 and 4 RPE at this stage. We're not going to be pushing it too hard today. These endurance efforts are important to build out that base where your body just needs to be accustomed to holding a consistent effort that you could do for hours on end, particularly if you're going out to do a century or maybe a double century, or if it's just a 50 miler on the weekend before you have to tackle those chores, so be it. Throughout all of our workouts, we've done VO2 max, super painful. Tempo, my favorite. Endurance, necessary. And then FTP, pushing on that painful. The way we stage all of these is to ensure you have adequate rest between each, as well as a cadence that allows you to reap the benefits and realize the gains from each. We've got 30 seconds left on the warm-up, and then we'll ratchet up our effort to a 5 to 6, and then just hold that steady during the ride today. 30 minutes. It's not going to be a walk in the park by any means. It's not easy breezy. Much like the breeze today is giving us a little bit of a headwind, but it'll allow us to have that endurance. So let's kick it off. Woo! Kick up that cadence now. I want it about 70 to 75. Nothing too strenuous. There's not a lot of resistance today because we're down at sea level, spinning it at an endurance pace. We're gonna enjoy this ride. This is our second to last adventure here in beautiful Vietnam. The An Lagoon, even though we've got that breeze, is quite tranquil and serene. So we'll just have these idyllic views as we ride around before our final ascent up to the mountain pass overlook. As an example, you can see all of the tires where they harvest those oysters. They probably recycle through them over and over again as part of their economy. Here's a perfect example of one of the huts on the water. Stilts up above. They need to hang out and protect their cultivation efforts from would-be bandits, or so I've been told. Keep that cadence now, 70 to 80. Nice spinning, RPE of 5 to 6. This has probably been one of the few rides during this series where there aren't a ton of busy bee motorbikes zipping by all the time, or big tour buses, insofar as Vietnam's economy is largely driven in these areas by tourism. We can understand why everyone wants to come and see it. But here, it's a little more peaceful, a little more serene. A perfect example of a location to cap off our endurance riding here in Vietnam. Avoiding the hustle and bustle of the city or certain popular places like Hai Van Pass, which I need to reiterate again, both that climb and descent that you did with me, that was phenomenal. We're just down from that area so we can feel those beautiful mountain ranges looking down on us as we're circumnavigating An Lagoon. I hope you've taken opportunity to learn how to listen to your body, take rest days, hydrate properly, get adequate nutrition before and after your efforts. I very much have come to find the nutritional aspect of sports and athleticism to be paramount. Each person is a little different on what works for them. There are a lot of diets that may exist, whether it's keto, paleo, Whole30, or the Mediterranean diet. I think it's important to listen to your body and find what works best for you. Experiment a little bit. Never on race day, but learn how your body works through fats, carbs, proteins. Clean ingredients are always important though. And get plenty of plants in your diet. My focus has largely been on creating a platform for eating wholesome foods, clean products, and encouraging the use of that through trail truffles. And that has been my passion now that I no longer race. I do miss, though, some of those long days on the bike, because I find myself at the truffle factory a little too often making those wholesome bites, but it doesn't afford me those 20+ hour workload weeks on the bike. But as long as we can still get out and enjoy these rides in iconic places like Da Nang, Vietnam, which is where we are today as we circumnavigate An Lagoon, I think we're solid. Look at those views as those clouds roll over the mountains. A little ominous, I'd say, but per the name of Hai Van Pass, or the ocean clouds, I think the mist and the fog always rolling in. Hello! Xin chào, xin chào! Is a prevalent thing in this area. The locals during this trip have been so accommodating. Very positive, helpful. It's always great to be able to learn about the culture of the places you visit, to be introduced to the locals who know and live and breathe this area on a daily basis, and therefore you're able to avoid some of those common tourist locations and jump into a peaceful scene like this, doing our endurance ride around a beautiful lagoon. A couple ducks hanging out in the road here. Let's make sure we don't startle them. Hello, xin chào ducks. Looks like a cute couple. Keep that cadence between 70 and 80. This endurance ride has been enjoyable so far. I want to make sure you're keeping that effort at a solid RPE of 5 to 6. Getting the opportunity to come across these fishing villages or seafood-oriented economies. We've got a shrimp farm there, the oyster catch with the tires, the cultivation. See some long-tail fishing boats as well. You can definitely recognize those communities where their livelihood comes from the sea. And with a place like this and the views, I can see the attractiveness of taking on that type of lifestyle. Go do a lap around An Lagoon every morning before you get to your daily work. We've just about hit 10 minutes in our 30-minute endurance workout today. So I want you to lead out for about 30 seconds to a minute and just enjoy the views as we round this bend. So come on, give me a little RP of solid 6 here. Up that cadence, closer to 80. Great work. You've got so many of these stages under your belt now. You know how to lay down the power. Don't want to push it to your FTP yet or tempo. Great lead out here. Boy, nothing better than having some unobstructed views on this endurance ride today. And given all of your hard work so far, you've totally earned it. And speaking of endurance rides, putting in these solid miles and minutes at this RPE of 5 to 6 is important for those long days in the saddle. I spent a couple of weeks several years ago in northern Thailand and Vietnam riding all around, avoiding the cold, dreary winter months in Utah and coming to bask in the beautiful, cool, but not too cold temperatures here in Southeast Asia. It was phenomenal. One of the days I started in Chiang Mai, Thailand, loaded up this bike with a few changes of clothes, my iPad, and everything I'd need for a day of work up in Chiang Rai, and rode point to point 125, 130 miles on the bike, 80, 85 degrees, and of course very humid with a heavily loaded down bike. Big saddle, bag, cockpit, added weight. But were it not for those endurance miles that I put in, there was no way that I would have been able to survive that kind of ride. Those aren't the times where you're putting in an effort above a 6, unless there's a short little climb or spurt that you need to hit. Those are just grinded out miles. And with the heat and humidity on that day, it gets to a point where even with high fitness, you just need to pause, take a breather, because it's almost more mental than physical to keep pedaling one pedal stroke after the other. Spent a few nice days up in Chiang Rai, explored up there, found the Jade Buddha, the original relic, and then turned around and rode all the way back to Chiang Mai. And the people at the hotel desk, when finding where I'd gone to and come back from, they were a little bit flabbergasted, probably because they thought, what is this crazy guy doing? Riding his bike such a long distance in such hostile weather. Not to mention the fact that on the thoroughfare, the highway between the two cities, I was sucking in a lot of exhaust fumes. So I don't know if the moral of that story is endurance is great, but avoid exhaust laden roads, or just tough it up and ride long distances for fun, or just riding in Southeast Asia is awesome. I think it's all good. And here in Vietnam, it's been phenomenal. We've had a blast on this series so far. We're just over our halfway mark on this endurance ride. I really like the consistent effort you've been putting here. Hopefully, my stories of other exploits in the Southeast Asia region keep that cadence high. I know you can get lost in these views. Look at this canopy here. This is spectacular. New things thrown at us every which way here in lovely Vietnam. Wind has definitely kicked up a bit now. I think we got some light misting going on. As we'd done the Hai Van Pass earlier, we're now on the northern side, headed up towards Hue. Because of the natural geographical divide of the pass, northern Vietnam receives more of those colder winds, a little bit chillier coming from China. And so we're experiencing that firsthand right now, where we're headed into a headwind. It's misting a bit. It's a little ominous, eerie, but pleasant. Having ridden in 40, 50 degree temps with rain and drizzle, and then of course, in the winter months, I'm layering up to go ride my fat bike in 20 degree temperatures in the deep snow. Being able to go out in 70 degree temperatures in the cool season here is awesome. So no complaints, absolutely. You have been doing a great job on this endurance ride. I can tell that those earlier segments that you've done on this are advanced. Performance interval series here in Vietnam has given you the additional strength and fortitude to just lay down this solid power. And I think you've got a big endurance ride in your future. I hope so. Well, that guy's just enjoying the view. Hello, puppy. And hey, now that we're here in the Lunar New Year, you gotta have those people singing karaoke, enjoying some time off, appreciating the opportunity to spend some hours with the family. And right where we are now, we can see the vast bamboo poles sticking up where they attach all those bike tires, used bike motorcycle tires, to grow the oysters. They tie them halfway down and then cultivate from there. So it's a very thoughtful and ingenious way to get that growing happening. Such beautiful foliage here, the canopy. Almost evergreen style trees, palm fronds, a slew of trees and plants, flora and fauna that I'm not terribly familiar with, but we can enjoy the views and appreciate what we're riding through here at An Lagoon. We're nearly done circumnavigating the body of water, and then we'll get a little bit of a climb as we wrap up today. We'll probably slow our cadence a bit, but we want to keep that consistent endurance effort of RPE 5 to 6. Maybe, just maybe, I'll ask you to keep a solid 6, given how strong you've been riding today. Xin chào.
Xin chào. Hello.
I feel like I've finally gotten the Vietnamese greeting down pat. Okay, we've got a little bit of a roundabout action to go on here, so let's watch for traffic. It, of course, would not be Vietnam without having to cross a few lanes of cars. Woo! And get in the gravel a little bit, get some dirt, getting a little dirty. Oh yeah. Does this remind you of anything? A little Haivan Pass maybe? Nah, we're not trying to lay down FTP here. Endurance, drop your cadence a bit. We've got increased resistance and increased grade. So we just want to keep a consistent, steady effort here. Not to mention, we're fighting those winds and all these cute little doggies coming out to greet us. Why don't you lead me out here for a bit? Around this bend? You're doing a great job. Enjoy a little unobstructed view, sans Casey. Or maybe it's just because I want to draft a bit, because you're laying down some amazing power very consistently, spinning those circles. Consistent power, delivery, very important when you're thinking about endurance rides. You never want to go out too hard and blow yourself up. Keep going here. You're doing great. I'm going to sneak by a bit. Maybe jump out of the saddle with me for a spell while we round this bend. Fighting that headwind. Nice work. Nice work. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back in the saddle. Nice. Amazing work so far. I personally like finishing a ride. Hello, xin chào. Maybe they weren't Vietnamese. Or maybe I'm not quite as good at xin chào as I thought. As I was saying, I normally like to finish rides with a rip and descent, but given how scenic, beautiful, ecologically diverse Vietnam is, I'm not going to complain. Wow, it has just opened up. We've got An Lagoon down there on our left now. I count about 1, 2, 10,000 or so of the bamboo poles for that oyster cultivation. keep going. We're gonna be wrapping up here in a little bit. Fantastic work getting up to the top. Now that we have crested that main climb, we've got a little descent before we have a nice little loop around. We'll finish with an overlook. Take one final gander at An Lagoon. As we cool down. We'll get a nice sweeping view of these rice fields as we loop around and come back up here in a bit. Wow, this is so beautiful. This is so amazing. Mountain goats, little babies, this is phenomenal. Starting our cool down in earnest now. Gentle roll. Saying hi to another family of goats. Look at all those cute little kids. Oh man, too adorable. This is so beautiful. Just when you think you've seen it all, Vietnam goes and delivers something even more spectacular than you can hope. That verdant green of the rice fields, amazing. Looks like we've got a little bit of a weeping rock right here. Never-ending water seepage. Drop your cadence to about 50 to 60 here. Have your RP about 2 to 3 for this cool down. That was an awesome effort. I'd say that there was a huge payoff during that ride today. You did an amazing job holding that pace, that effort. I'm really proud of what you did in Vietnam. I always love a good solid endurance ride with plenty of scenic views, and today we were treated to many, many beautiful opportunities. Light spin it here, drop your RPE to a 2 as we finish up. Oh, this is exceptional. We're gonna roll it out just right to here, get an overlook of An Lagoon to finish up today. What an amazing way to finish up the ride today with this idyllic view of An Lagoon. I am Casey, your iFit trainer. You did such a great job today during that endurance ride. Next time, we'll finish up the series with that FTP interval set. But until I see you then, keep spinning. Peace.